Hello and welcome back to my channel, Stitch It with Rachel. My name is Rachel and today we've got a really fun special episode all about gift knitting. I've really loved watching everyone's fall knitting plans videos, but I have so many gift knits that I want to do this year for Christmas that I just don't feel like I have time for fall knitting plans because we have 79 days till Christmas, guys. Yeah, 79 days till Christmas as of the day I filmed this video. So that's not a lot of time. So I'm going to be showing you what I'm working on, what I plan to hopefully start and finish before Christmas, and then I'm also going to have a pattern roundup at the end. Lots of great stash busting, lots of free patterns, all that kind of stuff. So that sounds like fun. Grab a project, grab a beverage, and come join me. All right, so starting off, like I said, I'm going to talk about what I'm working on. So my plans for Christmas, I have 3 sock gifts that I plan on making. I absolutely love sock knitting. I'm a little sock obsessed. And so if you watched my first regular podcast episode, you know that I had purchased yarn for my grandpa's pair of socks. And we already have 1 sock done. Yes, that's right. 1 sock's already done. And the second sock is cast on. So we are making great progress here. And I think this has turned out so stinking cute. I love how the colors came out. Like I said, it just reminds me of my grandpa's flannel shirts that he wears all the time. Yes, he has really big feet. This is the longest pair of socks I've ever made. I did not follow a pattern for these. I just did like a basic ribbed sock, just 2x2. Once after the heel, I did just stockinette in the back and ribbed on the top. And I used the sock ruler by, I think it's like Twice Sheared Sheep or something like that you just stick into the back of the heel or the toe. To measure when to start your heel or toe. So it makes it pretty easy to make socks for people even without having like their exact feet measurements. So that's my first time using that. So hopefully it's accurate. And my grandfather does have large feet, like I said, so I did do 80 stitches, which is usually, I would think like an extra large size for socks. Usually the largest size is 72 stitches, but I wanted to go up. I didn't want to make these and have them be too tight. So I went up, but also did ribbing so that if they were too big, they would actually still kind of be snug. I hope that makes sense. So first pair of socks is well underway. I feel like I could easily finish this week as long as school is not too hard or time consuming this week. We got 1 midterm down, 2 more to go. So my next pair of socks that I need to cast on is for my grandma. So once I get past putting in the heel insert, the little scrap yarn, because I do forethought heels, I think I'd like to cast on my grandma's socks, get them started, so that way like we're just ready to go. Because sometimes once you finish a project and you don't have another one already started, it's a little harder to start. I don't know. Am I the only one who does that? So these are for my grandma's socks. I made a pair of socks for me out of this yarn. I think this is like Crazy Zauberball or one of those like self-patterning. Super cute, super fun. But when I finished, I had a good bit of yarn left, but not enough to make me a second pair of socks. And my grandma has smaller feet, so I'm going to use up these, but I'm going to do this gorgeous dark like eggplant color for either the heels, toes, or heels, toes, and cuffs. And I just think they're going to turn out so cute. And then we'll have matching socks, and that'll be so much fun. And I might even wear my socks out of this yarn to Christmas so that when she opens hers, we can have matching socks for the rest of the day. I don't know, kind of silly. I think it'd be fun. I know she'd love it. And then my last sock project for Christmas is a pair of socks for a friend who does watch my channel. So I'm not going to show you the yarn, but she does know that it's coming. So the sock's not a surprise. But super fun yarn for that. And that'll be the 3rd pair of socks. So those are all of my sock gift knitting plans. I love socks because it's usually 1 skein of yarn or even scraps. Odds and ends, leftover balls aren't great for anything else. And they're really fairly quick. And if you're like, I don't know about that, like I've tried sock knitting once, it was terrible or anything like that, I highly recommend you give it another go. I'm going to have some great patterns at the end to help encourage you to go ahead and give them a try. They are so much fun and they make great gifts. So that's all I'm going to talk about for socks. Moving on, I'm really excited about these. So I bought some yarn. I bought some drops Nepal. I did a big drops order because they had 30% off of all their alpaca and alpaca blend yarns. So I had got these then because I decided I want to make mittens because I love sock knitting so much, and mitten knitting is fairly similar. It's small circumference, it's a tube. The thumb gusset is kind of like the heel. You get the pointy, like for the Selbu mittens, you get the point at the top, kind of like you do when you finish a sock. Not quite pointy, but you get the point. Anyways, I've decided I'm going to be a mitten girl as well. So this is what I got for those. And I cast on last night. And look how far I got. Look. I'm so excited. These are going to be so cute. You can see the bottom of the star snowflake starting to pop up here. Yeah, so I started these at 9 o'clock last night. And I finally went to bed at like 11 or something. And I messed up like twice. So I had to restart twice, right? These are whipping up so quickly. And no surprise, because the pattern is called the Speedy Selbu mitten by Skeindeer Knits. And I'm having so much fun. This is great color work practice, but it's a bulkier weight yarn because it's an aran weight than what you'd normally use for like socks and stuff, or like true traditional Nordic Selbu mittens. But like great color work practice, whipping up so fast. Like I feel like if I had started these in the morning, I easily would have finished the first one, if not maybe also the second one. Like yeah, super fast, having so much fun. And I'm like, this is just such a great gift. If I can make it in a day, like all of a sudden, you know, Aunt Jane's coming to Christmas. Oh my goodness, let's get, like, what are we going to do for her? Well, whip up a pair of Selbu mittens in like a day, like no big deal. And how fun and how special. So anyways, really, really excited about those, having a ton of fun. Those are for my mom. She's a classic red and white snowflake Christmas girly. Like that is her, like everything Christmas is red and white snowflake and snowmen. That's what she loves. And she has no idea I'm making these. So this will be a really fun surprise. And I think she's really going to love them. If I have time, I would love to knit like a little like ear warmer wrap that matches with that like snowflake pattern, Nordic star pattern on it. But we'll see. And I did also get some yarn for me because I want a pair of matching mittens, but just in my colors. So I got this gorgeous, like, I think it's called Petrol or something, or Deep Ocean, something like that. Super, super pretty. So I'm hoping to cast these on for me as well. If these whip up this quickly, I will not feel that bad about casting on something for me while I'm in gift knitting mode. So that is all for mittens. The last gift knit that I have on the needles is my leaflet scarf for my best friend Teresa, who is coming to visit for Christmas, which I'm so excited about. I haven't made any progress on it since my first podcast episode when I talked about it, so I'm not going to show it again. Also, she also watches these, and I don't want to ruin it. So, but scarves in general are great gift knits. This one's definitely a little bit more complicated, full-on lace work for the whole thing. But if you want to hear more about the scarflet, you can go check it out in my first video. So those are all of the gift knits I have planned to do and am currently started and working on and all that. So I definitely feel like I haven't bitten off too much. I can get these done before Christmas. And then if I have extra time, hopefully I'll just cast on things for me. This year, 2024, has been, I think I have given away 90 to 95% of the things I've made, crochet or knit. And I have decided that in 2025, it's going to be my selfish year of knitting. And I am going to try, it's hard for me, but I'm going to try to only make things for me, or truly only make them if I want to make them. So if I'm making them as a gift, they don't know about it, so that if I change my mind and it sits in a corner for 3 months, there's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no like, oh God, I told them I was doing it. So I plan on 2025 being a selfish knitting year, and it's all going to be for me. We'll see how that goes. So, all right, enough rambling. Let's get to the pattern roundup, because there's some really fun things in here, and I hope it inspires you if you've been thinking about gift knitting or just unsure what to do. So let's jump right into it. I do have notes down here. Forgive me if I'm looking down, but there's no way I would remember all of these like pattern names and designers and whether it's free or not. So that's what I'm doing. I'll try not to look down a ton, but we're going to start off. I have 4 categories, and they are all accessories. To me, gift knits usually our accessory. Like the only person I would knit a sweater for is like my mom, and she's not getting one this year. It's definitely going to be a while before I knit my mom a sweater. So these are all accessories, so they're great for anyone that you would want to knit for. And on that note, knitworthy. What makes someone knitworthy? I think that's really personal for a lot of us. The amount of time and effort and money that goes into hand knitting something is a lot. And people really don't understand that if they're not in the crafting community or the fiber arts community. I am someone where gifting is like one of my love languages. Like I love to make gifts for people. I love to just gift random, even if it's not handmade, to like put together things. Like it's just, I get so much joy out of it. So I definitely do more than I think some people do. And I'm curious to know what your definition of knitworthy is. Like, is it just your, your kids and your husband? Is it just your parents? Is it nobody? Like, what is knitworthy to you? How do you deem whether or not you put the time and energy into giving something hand knit to someone? I would love to know. Please drop it down in the comments. And with that, now let's get to this pattern roundup. So, like I said, we've got 4 categories. They're all accessories. Starting off, we have hats. And the first one will be a surprise to no one. It's going to be the Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. I feel like anyone in the fiber arts community is going to know about this one, at least for knitting. It's a great no gauge hat. Not no gauge, but like any gauge. So you can pick up pretty much any weight of yarn between fingering and DK, maybe even worsted. And you just start. Like you don't have to make a gauge swatch, you just start knitting. And then after you finish the crown, you measure your gauge. And she has this whole like chart and stuff. So depending on what gauge you get and what yarn you use or whatever, tells you the measurements you need to finish your hat. And I just love that. So this is also a great stash busting project. You've got one single skein of fingering weight yarn that you just don't know what to do with, but it's really pretty. It seems like a lot of variegated and like speckly yarns look really good in this. That could be a really fun way to use up a special skein and then give it to a special person. This is a paid pattern. I don't remember the price. I'll put it up here with the other details and of course down in the description. It is perhaps a slower project if you're not used to using fingering weight yarn, which is nice. You could try DK weight or something like that. But I think people work these up pretty quickly. I have not made one yet. It's on my list. I have yarn wound up for it. It's going to be a me project. Part of my 2025 knits for me. But I see people knit these up pretty quickly because it's all just stockinette. Like once you get past the increases for the crown, you just have a stockinette tube, which is delightful and relaxing while you're like rewatching Gilmore Girls or some spooky movies this October. Yeah, so that's my first recommendation. Second recommendation is the classic ribbed hat by Purl Soho. This is a free pattern on their website. I believe it uses DK weight yarn. So again, great stash busting project. A ribbed hat is just classic. You could give it to anyone, man, woman, child, grandparent, friend. Like this is just a great hat to gift to just about anyone. Super cute, super classic. And yeah, I really don't have anything else to say about that because I haven't made it before, but it looks great. And it's free, and we love that. So if you have the yarn in your stash and it's a free pattern, kind of cost you nothing. Knitter's math. Of course, you bought the yarn at some point, but you don't have to buy it anew. So that's a great way to give a gift to someone without having to spend any more money, just a little bit of your time. The last hat I have for you guys is the Spinnaker Beanie by Emily Sheehan. So I found this pattern, I think originally on Etsy, and I saw the picture and I was just like, ooh, love that, gorgeous. What I really like about this pattern is it has 3 different weights of yarn, and in the picture it's really cool because you can see how the pattern looks in those 3 different weights because it really changes how the pattern looks. So this is a paid pattern. This is also available on Ravelry. And I didn't mention, but I'm going to have all of these patterns as well as some additional ones in a Ravelry bundle that I'll have a link to down below. So All of these will be there so you can find them easier. And then I've added some other ones that I just couldn't help myself. Like I had to keep adding patterns to the bundle. So easy to find there afterwards. Yeah, super beautiful beanie. I really like how it looks. You can do different weights, which I think is great. Great stash busting again. I'm sorry, guys. My tongue's not working. Apparently, I need some more coffee. Okay. That's it for the hat. Moving on, next I have mittens. Like I said, I am becoming a little mitten obsessed. So, of course, the Speedy Selbu mittens, which is the pattern I'm working on, I'm going to recommend just based off of how this started. Super fun, super quick. Pattern is very easy to follow. You do have to be able to read charts, but the charts are super easy. Like I've like no complaints. The only thing about this pattern is it is this. I think this was a little bit of an expensive pattern for an accessory. I think it was, I believe, $8 US. And I am very pro paying designers like the amount of time and effort that goes into creating, designing, tech editing, grading, like all of that. You know what I mean? I happily pay $10 to $15 for a sweater pattern, yada, yada. But I do think 8 was a little steep for an accessory pattern, especially like a bulkier weight, kind of easier one. But I'm loving it. So, and I'm going to use it multiple times. If, however, you're like, I really want to make those, but like, I don't want to spend $8 on a pattern. Drops does have a free pattern that's very similar to this. I've never used a drops pattern, so I don't know how well their instructions actually are. But that could also be a very valuable pattern for like the same idea. But the pattern is free. So next for mittens, we have the World's Easiest Mittens by Tin Can Knits. And this one is a free pattern and any gauge. So that means any kind of yarn that you have in your stash. And she had sizes written for, I think, like baby, newborn, toddler, like all the way up to like a men's like large. So anyone in your life, you could just whip up a pair of mittens. These cute. They've got the little rounded top. They look like they've got really comfortable like thumb gusset. So anybody in your life that needs a pair of warm mittens for the winter, stash bust some yarn, free pattern. This is kind of like the trifecta I think we're going for this winter, or at least I'm going for this pattern roundup. So after that, the Songbird mittens, which I did not write down the designer, so I'll just put all the information up here. I saw these on Pinterest, like I think last winter when I picked knitting back up, and obsessed. I was like, oh my god, those are gorgeous, must have. But like mittens at the time, I was like, I wasn't making those. So it's been saved in my Pinterest for ages. It pops up frequently. And I had to include this in here because after I finished making the Selbu mittens, want to cast on a pair of Songbird mittens for myself come like January. I love the classic white and blue. That is the pattern. There's some really fun color combos other people have done in the project section. But yeah, I just think these are stunning. So if you have a little more time on your hands, you're not completely new to color work, you've knit socks before, you've worked with fingering weight yarn before, I think this could be a really fun, special gift to give to someone. All right, third category is, of course, socks. I love socks. I love sock knitting. It's so much fun. Please give it a try if you have not, or you've been interested but scared. So we have the queen, in my opinion, the queen of sock knitting, Summerly Knits, and her I'm So Basic sock pattern, which is free, and she has YouTube tutorials to like go along with it. This was my first sock pattern. She holds your hands the whole thing, walks you through it. It's fantastic. Loved it. So this is fingering weight yarn, and she does usually do her socks in magic loop, but you can easily also just do this in either mini circulars or DPN. So really whatever your preference is. This one does have a heel flap and gusset, which is most beginner sock patterns are. It's like, I think, the most classic heel. I do not prefer the heel flap and gusset. I made it once for this first pair of socks and have since tried different heels. So I've tried a German short row heel and now a forethought heel. I am stuck on the forethought heel because I'm really loving it. But in her book, The Sock Project, she has like 5 different basic sock recipes. So the book is obviously not free, but if you're interested in sock knitting or you do the I'm So Basic sock pattern and you're like, I need more. Sorry, my dog's getting a bone out of the bucket to go chew on. Hopefully you guys can't hear that, but he's so cute. I don't want to. All right. Hopefully with the microphone, you can't hear him chewing on a bone. I apologize if you do. Where was I? Sock Project book. Highly recommend it. Tons of fun. If you don't want to purchase it, check out your local library. My local library does have it. And so that is the first sock pattern recommendation, plus also a little stint on Summerlee Knits because I just think she's spectacular. So the second sock pattern is also free, and it's Vanilla DK Socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. If you really want to do socks, but you're just like, I don't know about that teeny tiny yarn and those teeny tiny needles, this is the same idea, just a little bit bigger gauge. So any kind of DK weight yarn you've got laying around your house. I believe it's like 3mm needles for DK socks, but don't quote me on that. So free pattern, same idea. She's got YouTube videos walking you through it, and could be a great like introductory sock if you want to get into it, but you're just a little nervous about like fingering weight yarn and patterns and things like that. So the last sock I have for you, of course, I had to put in a colorwork sock. So not quite as beginner friendly, but also like, I feel like adventurous beginners can really kind of do anything. I was an adventurous beginner and I just, sure, let's do that. Okay, I'll be right back. The dog needs to go outside, of course. As I was saying, Stone Knits colorwork socks, had to put in a pair. I absolutely love these pair of socks. It's her hot cocoa socks. I think they are so cute, so seasonal. What a fun gift to get for Christmas. If you're feeling a little adventurous and you want to try colorwork, so much fun. I have gotten obsessed with colorwork socks as well as socks in general. And I just think these are so cute. I really like the brown base, but some of the other, I've gone through the projects on this pattern on Ravelry, and there's some really fun color combos people have done for these socks, and I think that's just so fun. So those are all my sock recommendations. If you're interested in more color work, but you don't love the hot cocoa socks, go check out Stone Knit's other patterns. She's got so many colorwork socks. She also has a sock knitting book all about colorwork socks. I have that one as well. Also really wonderful. She has a really cute snowflake sock pattern as well. So that's socks. Last section I have here is scarves and shawls. Of course, I feel like I have to mention the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit. Everybody knows her. Almost everybody's made her. If you're a beginner, this is a great beginner-friendly pattern. It's all, not stockinette, garter stitch. So it's all garter stitch, some basic increases that you learn, and then some decreases. Uses 1 skein of yarn. We love that. So we have to mention her. But now, moving on. So I have the Nova scarf by, I'm not even going to try to say your name. I'm so sorry. This scarf is so pretty. It's DK weight. I love that it's similar to the Sophie scarf in that it's kind of one of those smaller skinny scarves. Kind of basic, but then it's got this wonderful little like lace edge detail on the side. Just adds a little spice, like a little something fun, very like delicate and feminine feeling. I just think would be so cute. It's a DK weight, which is nice, so a little bit thicker, work up pretty quickly. And I just love it. I think it's stunning. And I would really love to make one myself. I just thought of this. I might make the Nova scarf in, not Nepal, but maybe in the Lima in the same color. And so my mom could have a cute little lace scarf to go with her mittens instead of the headband. That could be really fun. We'll see. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Next we have the Rabea scarf by Chris Burling. This one stopped me in my tracks. It's so stinking cute. It looks like a rose, So I think this would just make such a great like presentation for a gift, whether you have it in like a little like almost like a corsage box or something, and you just have it wrapped up and it looks like a little rose, and you unwrap it and it's this gorgeous, cute little scarf. The texture in it I think is so much fun. And I've also thought it'd be really cute. I don't know if anyone's done this. I didn't look through all of the projects or anything, but if you did that, you just used some like sewing pins or safety pins and put it on like one of those fake green like rose stems. So you could actually gift it like as like a rose. I feel like that would be so cute. If you do that, please let me know and let me know how it works out, because I just think that would be so fun. So gorgeous scarf, but also like great presentation, super fun. This one was a fingering weight yarn. Again, I believe it's a single skein project. Great for stash busting. I'm sure I've said that probably like 20 times by now in this video. I'm sorry, but it's true. So last scarf pattern I have here is the Jasmine Scarf by Purl Soho. So this is a free pattern. It's also a worsted weight yarn, so a little bit bulkier, work up a little bit quicker, but it's also a longer, bigger scarf. So smaller yarn with a smaller scarf, and then bigger yarn, bigger scarf. They'd maybe take about the same amount of time. But the skinny scarves are just super popular right now. And as much as I do think they're super cute, I love a good classic, like just like rectangular, long, big, fluffy scarf. And I feel like the Jasmine scarf like checks those boxes for me. The design in it looks so beautiful, but it also looks like it's a probably pretty easy repeat to just memorize and go with. Worsted weight yarn again. I just think this looks like the coziest winter scarf. I want to cast this on, and it's a free pattern. I mean, like, what have you got to lose, right? So those are all of the pattern recommendations that I have for you guys. This has been so much fun. I hope that you have felt inspired. If you didn't know that it was 79 days till Christmas now, that you're like, okay, time to get a move on. I hope that you make some of these either for yourself or for friends and family. Please let me know in the comments again what your definition of knitworthy is. I would love to hear about that. And if you have any patterns you would like to add that you would really recommend for gift knits, please also drop those down below. I will have all of these patterns and some more in my Ravelry bundle, which will be listed below. And if you enjoyed today's video, it would mean the world to me if you gave it a like, dropped a comment, or subscribed. See you guys next time.